give it up for the one and only G.
The US experience was simply crazy.
The CEO Guillaume Moubache.
From Monday to Thursday, we would go to a new city.
Welcome to Flip the Script.
It was really, really intense. The opportunity was too good to be true. I had to go all in. Beck Holland is a sales leader. She basically helps one of the fastest growing companies in the US scale their sales revenue and their sales team. She launched Flip the Script about 4 years ago, and her goal is essentially to provide a lot of free content to the sales community in order to kind of educate an entire market on how to do sales the right way. So every single year, Beck organizes a tour around the US. You live on a bus for about 3 to 4 weeks, and you go to 13 different cities from New York to San Francisco. I know that Beck only invite the sales leader in the US, and she wanted me to actually be the first one doing the proper presentation. Having the chance to be the first one is great because you know that you have the entire audience, but it's also stressful because you don't want the audience to leave at the end. Almost each day, from Monday to Thursday, we would go to a new city, driving on the bus, sleeping on the bus, a recording of new videos, and then the event itself. It was really, really intense. I felt a bit like a rock star. When Beck told me that we were going to speak in 10 plus cities and in front of thousands of people, I got intimidated. Initially, actually, I'm an introvert, even though people don't realize that. I get my energy by spending also time alone. And I know that whenever I'm with lots of people and it's a crowded room, etc., my energy gets drained, and I push myself to the limit to really connect with people. So I knew that it would be a challenge, but at the same time, every time there is a new challenge, I get excited because I know that it's outside of my comfort zone and that I can grow from it. For me, one, it's a great learning experience because I could develop my public speaking skills. It's also a great way to associate our brand as the leader in the industry. And at the same time, learn a lot from other sales leaders. I think that the biggest obstacle to growth is the comfort zone. You don't live new experiences. You don't want to challenge yourself. It's only by stepping outside of your comfort zone that I feel that you can sometimes face, your true self and what motivates you in life, and also find your purpose. So to prepare for the tour, I had obviously someone from my team helping me out.
My name is Charlie, and I'm head of relationships at Lampire. My role in the Flip the Script tour was basically to organize Guillaume's part in it and also to do some promotion on our side. I coordinated Guillaume's participation in the tour together with Beck and her entire team. And then I also invited Beck and Keenan, another speaker on the tour, to come to Paris and to shoot some promotional content with us. It also helped us to kind of start building a relationship because we were going to spend a whole month on a bus together. Beck and Guillaume, they did a webinar together years back. She didn't know him before, but then during the call, she really realized how much expertise and knowledge Guillaume had in the field of sales. In her opinion, they needed more Guillaumes in the US sales community. So she wanted to give him that exposure and also thought that he could really bring value to the tour.
Please give it up for the one and only G.
From the style view and then from his commitment to excellence, there's not a lot of people that have high standards for themselves before others and hold those standards and aggressively make them higher at each turn. Watching him do that and the demeanor that he has and the way his mind thinks, and I can tell he's genuinely excited about content and solving real problems. I couldn't have imagined doing it with anyone else.
The tour was great because it allowed me to educate people on how to actually do sales prospecting the right way. As soon as people see you as a valuable source of information, they're gonna want to follow what you're doing. They're gonna look at what you've developed as a company and potentially become customers.
The entire event is basically an after work for salespeople where the speakers share their expertise around sales and share actionable strategies.
Our main product, Lemlist, allows people to send multi-channel sales prospecting campaigns. So because I've been helping maybe hundreds, if not thousands of people on writing their best performing sequences, I wanted to create a presentation that would be really actionable and that people could even use with potentially our competitors if they don't want to use our tools. So my goal was to make it super agnostic without trying to be too salesy.
Guillaume fit in perfectly. I mean, his message is entertaining, it's informative in terms of booking more meetings, in terms of leveling up your game when it comes to sequences, when it comes to connecting with prospects. He's brought a lot, and it's more than just the sales side, but really the overall business acumen side. If you really tune in to his message, which I have, I think 12 times, 11 times tonight, he's really got just a deep wealth of knowledge, which I appreciate.
I think the fastest way to succeed is to help others get what they've always dreamt of. And I think like all the person, who came at this conference on the US tour, they were sales rep or founders or people who wanted to grow their business or generate more revenue. So the thing is, with all the tips I included inside my presentation, I knew that they would get enough resource to at least boost their sales by a certain percentage. And what was great about that is at the end of each session, I had tens and tens of people coming and asking me like, okay, what do you think about XYZ? Then after that, people reached out to me on LinkedIn, we connected, etc.
He's amazing. I just love how he's revolutionizing how people sell, just making it easier for buyers to buy and making sellers more effective at actually doing, consulting work and not just selling a product.
I actually spoke with him for a few minutes after the presentation. He gave me some good tips on job hunting and how to stand out in today's market. So it's always really cool getting to talk to a passionate founder about not only what they're doing, but how they mentor others.
We'll definitely be taking what Guillaume shared and putting it into practice very quickly with our team.
He's extremely patient with people. You wouldn't be afraid to ask for his opinion. You wouldn't be afraid to ask for help. There's just a very comfortable, approachable authenticity about him that you don't really get in a lot of people.
It feels fulfilling to be able to help others because yes, of course it's business. Yes, of course you want to make more money, but in the end, I just associate the amount of money we make to the amount of people we help. And for me, that just feels great. The US experience was simply crazy. When I was in New York, I was posting like stories of what I was doing, who I was meeting, etc. And then eventually I'm in the bathroom. So when I'm in the bathroom, I can be like on Instagram, like checking like messages. So I go like to the spam folder and I see one guy who says like, hey, you could be interviewed by Jane King, this very famous like journalist at the New York Stock Exchange on Monday. Would you be up for it? At first I thought it was a scam, but I said like, you know what, like let's try it, we'll see. On Monday, I arrived there at 8. Jane King is not there. 10:08, I receive a message like, super sorry, like I got lost in traffic, etc. Like I'm at the other entrance, like let's meet. And Jane King was there. We went to the New York Stock Exchange, she interviewed me and it was really, really awesome. And the guy had told me that he would also put me on Times Square. So I asked like everyone from the tour to come because I had created something where it was not just me, it was like the 4 of us for the tour on Times Square. 15 minutes before the time it was supposed to pop up on Times Square, he says like, hey, the format of what you send is wrong, it's not gonna work. And I was like, oh shit, they're gonna believe, I'm just a French liar. In the end, like I'm calling the guy and I say, okay, is there any way, like we can manage? Like, yeah, if you can send me with this format in the next 20 minutes, I'm like, okay. So I call the team in Paris, we create the thing, and then we send him and it's like, okay, in 1 hour, you will be there on Times Square. 1 hour later, I was like super stressed, like, okay, is this gonna be there? Is it the right screen? And then boom, like our photo on the screen. It was just really amazing. Great way, like to bond with all the other speakers. What was really amazing with the tour is the speaker. Keenan, for example, is a best-selling author. Larry is a motivational speaker. And Beck is probably like one of the persons spending the most time studying sales and like trying to go into like the most depths possible about like sales, how it works, why it works. She has a well of knowledge and all of them had different ways, I think, of talking about sales. Their approach to sales might be like a bit different, but I think it's only when you get different perspective that you can actually create your own. And being able to have like debates with them about specific things made me realize things, that I didn't realize in the past. The importance, on caring about the problem, making sure, that you can connect on an emotional level with the people you want to help out.
I think on a business side, we definitely learned that most of our clients are in the US, but we haven't even scratched the surface of the US market. So I think it really made us realize the opportunity there is in the US market and that we have to double down on that. We also realized that hardly anyone is aware of email warm-up. People did not know why their emails were landing in spam or why their open rates were so low. They always thought it had to do with the subject line. And they were all amazed by the fact that you can actually warm up your email domain. So we definitely saw a huge opportunity for our warm-up services.
I've spent so much time working on subject lines, open rates, and all this stuff, and not focusing on, is it even being delivered? Like, that kind of blew my mind at the beginning.
I was always the person that sent out mail merges, not realizing that deliverability was a thing. And it was like a light bulb went off when he was talking. I sort of nudged my friend next to me and went, oh my gosh.
I hadn't thought about deliverability being that big of a factor before. It said 50% of email open rate is down to it. I definitely want to look up my MX records and go back into my emails and see what's happening.
Being able to realize that we need to educate a much larger market is awesome, because it feels like what we can achieve is actually a lot higher than what we all thought about. And I think that the limit we set for ourselves are just the limit we believe in. I think pushing my limits to do this was great, because even though at the end of the tour I was exhausted, I was proud of myself. And knowing, that you can do the hard things, work hard, put like tremendous amount of work, it shows you like what you're capable of doing and also how much you can achieve. And I think those little wins help you really build up confidence in the long run. And on the other end, this experience showed me that asynchronous work really worked really well. Which was something we had never implemented in the past. Making sure with the team that we could stay sharp and communicate only by writing, have limited meetings, allowed everyone actually to be a lot more focused on what they needed to deliver. And I think it also made us realize we don't actually need all those meetings. Some meetings are essential, but we didn't need to have those one-on-one at fixed dates, etc. Doing things asynchronous allow people to actually spend time thinking on how they should structure their thoughts. And then based on their thoughts, it's much easier for you to ask specific questions and have everything down. There's a quote that says, take risk, because if you win, you'll be happy. And if you lose, you'll be wise. And I think for me, it's kind of helpful to think through the things, because eventually, no matter if you lose or win, as long as you're growing as an individual and you learn new things and you develop yourself, I think you win, and you're always winning. Your network is your environment, and it is what will determine whether or not you can achieve greatness. I had people messaging me and telling me, hey, I have potentially met my new co-founders at your event last night. And I was like, oh, wow. Having a network that can support you, that can challenge you, that can push you to the next limit is what you need to grow.